Look at my, see, this is what I have when I try to do something delicate. I've had this ever since Cipro, but it's more now. I mean, this is not something you can fake. It doesn't do it all the time, but it's like a tax. Okay, it's not doing it, but it was doing it before. And I get this every so often when I try to hold something really small and delicate in my hand and trying to not press it, then my thumb starts shaking in my hands. Here, it's like Parkinson's or whatever you want to call it. Like it's coming, whatever it is, you know. Anyway, like look, fuck, it's attacks. I've never in my life, and on this side of my arm, I have permanent nerve damage. It goes from my forearm. There's 3 points in your forearm, nerve points, and one of them is damaged and extends down to here. So this is numb, and this one too, and right here it's numb too. It's like it's sleeping, and sometimes I'm getting pins and needles. I can't feel hot and cold as good or anything. I mean, I still have some sensation, but it's permanently damaged like this. If all 3 points were damaged in my forearm, I would be officially paralyzed in my elbow down, my whole hand. So yeah, permanent nerve. And I used to get really bad nerve pain right in the crack of my elbow where it bends. Constant and chronic. I still get it, but not as much because I was taking Colvita collagen, but you know, unfortunately Colvita doesn't heal everything, and it doesn't work for everyone. I'm one of the lucky ones. It saved my life at 7 months out. But anyway, yeah, I needed to get, I'm going to do more videos when I get different attacks every day. If I stretch in any way, if I reach back to the back seat to try to get something, my ribs, my muscles, whatever it is, fuck, it's like a Charlie horse. I can't even tell you. I want to scream, and it's an attack, and I get it all through my body. I've already videoed like my hands, getting like that Charlie horse type, my feet, I get it in my legs, sometimes I get it in my thigh. I used to get that a lot worse actually in the earlier phase, but it's been coming back out the last couple of years since I had the slip and fall. And it's not necessarily from the slip and fall that I got the relapse, the FQ relapse. It's more because of the foods. I couldn't eat clean foods like I usually do, like, you know, organic or clean, you know, clean foods that don't have that much chemicals. Everything in the supermarket now, everything that you buy has a lot of either natural or synthetic chemicals that are not meant for human consumption. And a person like myself, because my DNA has been damaged, my mitochondria, and you know, I still have all these damages, permanent damages. I had like immediately I got food sensitivities to everything that I ate normal. I couldn't drink anymore. I couldn't even take a sip of alcohol. Not that I drank a lot, once a year, twice a year. I couldn't even take a sip of alcohol. I became so sick, okay? Sugar. If I even had a little bit of sugar, I'd be on the floor in even more pain. And I had excruciating, out of this world pain, nonstop, 24/7. You know, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 18 out of 18. You know, I'm probably like 4 or 5 out of 18. You know, I'm a lot better, but I still have episodes, you know, but I go through a lot of phases still, especially since the slip and fall in 2017. I was doing good for 2 years, improving, and not improving everything, you know, and healing some things, you know, like my partial tendon ruptures. I'll always have damage showing there, the healing, you know, when you get healing. I have tendinitis, you know, like I get a lot of pain in my shoulders when I'm sleeping, or if I do too much repetition. If I continue to do repetition day in and day out, like some other people in our groups, the men especially, mowing the grass, cutting and doing all this stuff, they end up getting more tendon ruptures, right? So I've always, for like, since I got floxed, knowing what I know, I've always been extremely gentle on my body. And I couldn't even walk or stand at one point for more than 5-10 minutes at a time. And even when I was walking the 5-10 minutes, I was walking worse than a 90-year-old. I couldn't lift my feet. I would drag it, and baby drags, not baby steps, baby drags, very tiny drags. And I would have to stop and hang on to something. And if I didn't sit down, I would start collapsing. I had some kind of neurological attack. Tears would be coming out, not necessarily because of the pain, something, it was insane, I still can't walk long distance, but if I have to go long, well, again, since 2017, the slip and fall, the accident itself was bad that I had, but it was more the food that repoisoned me. I still have bone bruise. That happened in January 2017. Usually for most people when they get bone bruise, it takes, up to a year to heal, maybe up to 2 years. Now I'm going over 3 years. In January, it will be 3 years, okay? And I still have bone bruise. I can't go on my left leg. You know how you crawl into bed? If I do that, I could scream. The pain is still there. My entire bone below my knee is bruised. I also ruptured tendons in my ankles from the fall. And probably even under my foot. I don't know, because I had really severe bruising for oh my God, over a month. Purple, black, just crazy. Anyway, so once a floxy, always a floxy. People that claim to be 100%, 100% to what they know the damages are in their bodies. Fluoroquinolones, when they adduct your DNA, when it does mitochondria damage and your DNA, you have so much damages in your body that you're not even aware of, okay? I had over 30 damages. Almost immediately, I became diabetic. I had heart damage, physical heart damage too. Then I had pressure, blood pressure problems. I used to have healthy, always all my life, healthy blood pressure. Never had heart palpitations, arrhythmia attacks, irregular heartbeat. That's what I've lived with most of my life. Now I have less of that, but now I have, what's really strange is my blood pressure is unstable. They could, if they took 3 or 4 readings within 5-10 minutes, they're going to get readings as high as 180, 120, and another few minutes later, it'll be 80 over 70, my heart rate has come down some, because I started back on the Colvita again. But it was, for the first 2-3 years, my heart rate was, the rate was, not less than 100, 110, 120 was the average, the speed that it was going. Now, I'm starting to get actually for the first time I saw my heart rate, because I've been doing the Colvita the last 3-4 months. I sort of stopped right now. But it went down to 70, 77 or whatever, which is really good. I've never had it that low since I got poisoned in 2013. But mind you, the 2 years that I had where I was healing, and then before the accident relapsed me and brought on new, new damages. And I lost another 1/2 inch in my height because I have degenerative disc disease immediately after Cipro, within finishing Cipro. I lost 2 inches within 2 months in my height, in my lower spine. Degenerative disc disease I was diagnosed with spurs, bulging disc, whatever, and then I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, osteopenia. Osteopenia is a bone deteriorating disease, by the way, and I always knew at that time if I fall that I would shatter into 1,000 pieces, because your bones become brittle and dry and deteriorates to nothing, okay? That's irreversible apparently, but apparently I did put it in remission with Colvita and Colway, and I drank a lot of lemon and water. But what works for one may not work for the other. I do believe Colvita is relatively safe for most, but you know what? You never, anything, even the ASEA that most floxies are claiming are healing them up, ASEA and Redox, I've talked to some people who said that they think that they ended up relapsing because of that. So, you know, again, majority, it may help. So, you know, if you want to gamble, if you're at the stage in your life where your health is so bad that you have nothing to lose, then do it. But if you're even my stage, I consider myself where, you know, I'm never going to be 100% and I'm always going to have some kind of relapse or something new coming, but I'm still living relatively normal, you know, like I'm not bedridden now, and you know, I can walk more than 5-10 minutes. Again, before this accident, and it was just to my leg, I was in much better shape than I am now. But because of the foods that I had to, canned foods, processed foods, you know, all the foods on the shelves in Metro and, you know, your supermarket, your local supermarket, it's all poison. And the more you eat of that, which I never, right? I never ate canned foods and processed foods. You know, I was mostly vegetables and meats, okay? And milk most of my life. And you know, since 20, 30 years, you know, the foods are less and less clean, as you realize. But I was going and I was buying, you know, I was buying organic foods a lot, clean foods, you know, going to the farmer's market, you know, buying my vegetables, but once I had this accident in 2017, I couldn't afford, because I have a business, and if I can't run my business, I have no income, and I had to dip into my my pension, the RSP pension that I had savings for. I had to dip into it. Eventually, a year later, I was on the verge where either that or go bankrupt, right? And at the time, you know, I didn't even remember that I had the RSP, the retirement pension. So that's almost cleaned out now. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a little bit left. I might buy a little property somewhere for, you know, my retirement, basically. I don't know, maybe in another country or maybe up north. I'm not sure. But yeah, I have nothing left, and I wasn't able to work. Not in my condition. My hips started after the accident because of the food, and that's what I'm suspecting is the food, because I was tested for allergies, and I don't have allergies. I have food sensitivities to everything almost, okay? To everything, vegetables, and turmeric is another one. Half the Floxies can use turmeric and it helps them, and the other half, for the first time I had turmeric a couple of years ago, and it was in coffee, and I drove another 2 hours and I finished it, and when I got out of the vehicle, and this is when I was in good condition, and when I got out of the vehicle, I almost collapsed. I couldn't stand on my leg, because I had a lot in my joints, in my hips, you know, fingers, things like that. I couldn't even keep my weight. I almost fell. I was literally hanging on the door as I'm getting out of the car. As soon as I put weight, I collapsed because of the turmeric. Okay, so this is what turmeric does to me. So, you know, what works for one, even magnesium, I don't understand, but I tried magnesium in the early stages, and it made me even worse, believe it or not. I bought this magnesium, whatever the people were saying in our groups, the magnesium, how it helped all these people. I was getting a lot of the same stuff, and I spent $200, went to the Noah's natural food store, and I went with a list, and I was like at 5 months out, when I was really bad, I couldn't stand or walk barely, 5-10 minutes. I could only walk and stand 5-10 minutes. And then when I came home, I mean, I was already in really bad shape. You know, thank God I had a vehicle to get around. Otherwise, I would have been housebound, and I would have went insane, because I can't sleep, I can't sit, I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk. And, you know, I'm whimpering all day. Thank God everybody was working. I had to live with my sister for 3 years. Okay. So at night, oh my God. Anyway, I have videos at night too. I just have a few, but I'm going to start keeping more tabs on what's happening. And I keep getting these attacks still. And now I'm getting this shaking like this for the last, I would say it started, well, it's always been there, but it's getting worse now. Okay. Now it's becoming more evident. And I did mention to my doctor last year that how when I'm picking up something very fine and very delicate and I can't press on it, that I start shaking like Parkinson's or whatever you want to call it. And I just showed it in video now. Anyway, it's 15 minutes, so I'm going to upload this and stay away from Cipro, Levaquin, Avalox, Floxin, ciprofloxacin, moxifloxacin, the generics. These are the generics now. Generics usually start with end with a floxacin, you know, ACIN at the end, X usually with an X. So watch, because sometimes doctors don't even know what a fluoroquinolone is, the family. So you have to watch it. You have to protect yourself. Do not trust your doctor. Do not trust anyone but yourself. Get yourself educated. Protect yourself and your loved ones at least. Okay? If you have been exposed, do not ever take this again. Do not take steroids. Do not take any. Oh my God, this is a problem too. My memory's improved a lot, but I had severe memory problems, severe brain fog, depersonalization. All that's improved because of, for me, my miracle was the Colvita collagen. Other people got same results from ASEA and Redox. So those are things you can look into, but you need guidance for this kind of stuff. You can't just jump into it. You need someone that knows about it, okay? Anyway, fluoride, steroids. Technically, you really shouldn't even be touching any prescription drugs, and especially vaccines, especially. And G5, the signals you're going to be more sensitive to than most people. Okay, most floxies, all right? So all this epidemic that's happening in the world with all the different things that they're blaming, like, I'm not saying that it's not happening, but majority of these people, like opioids and stuff, they were originally floxed, and that's why they ended up on opioids and antidepressants and stuff. Not all, but majority. And now there's enough black box showing that there is fluoroquinolones can cause and do cause many brain damage, mental illnesses, okay? People are being diagnosed with bipolar and whatever, okay? Depression, suicidal ideation, and some people have committed suicide even within 24 hours of taking the fluoroquinolone, and they have no idea what a fluoroquinolone is. But in some people, the fluoroquinolones will trigger themselves to self-destruct. And they don't even know what's happening. A lot of hallucinations and audio and visual. I think there was one Floxy, I believe, with her. She was in the TV news, her mom, and the story. She was going to her mother's for Christmas, and she pulled over on the highway. There's more to it than that. And she got out, and she walked right in front of a big Mack truck. She got killed instantly. What I think, this is just my opinion, is she was hallucinating that she was somewhere else, because I had also psychotic nightmares, except I didn't sleepwalk. And I didn't even sleep. I had severe insomnia for a year, for almost, a year and a half, almost 2 years, okay? In the 1 to 2 minutes pivotal, for a total of 20 minutes that I was sleeping every single night for 2 years, I had a psychotic nightmare in the 1 to 2 minutes, at least once a night. Okay, for the first 4 months, the same repeated one basically, and it was so real. I didn't know if I was sleeping or not. It was so real. And then after 4 months, they became less, but they became even more psychotic. That again, I didn't sleepwalk, but I'll tell you, it was horrific. I have never in my entire life saw a movie, and I love scary movies too. I used to go to the theaters. I didn't see anything on theater or anywhere. This, to me, was horrific. The nightmares, when they became less, they became more horrific. After 4 months, for about 2 years, the odd time I may have one now, very strange, abnormal dreams that you cannot tell. You're in your dream you smell, you see, you feel. It's real. So anyway, stay safe. I'm sorry, I got into 20 minutes now. Just stay safe and learn about fluoroquinolones. There's a lot more to know than what I'm telling you. These are chemotherapeutic drugs, okay? Pawned off as simple antibiotics. These are also anthrax drugs, pawned off as simple antibiotics, when these are in fact the most dangerous, lethal, I won't even say drugs, weapon ever created by Bayer and sister company JJ. Bayer's the culprit. They brought in sister company JJ to approve them to also make it, okay? And then thereafter, I don't know, 5 years or so after, then once the patent was lifted, all these generic companies started manufacturing it all over the world. So now there's lots of generics, but Bayer and Johnson & Johnson are the main culprits to this, okay? Anyway, stay safe and be alert and protect your loved ones.